Have you ever noticed that the strongest warriors rarely draw their swords? That the most powerful individuals do not waste their energy in petty battles? The truth is, real power is not found in conflict. It is found in control. Not control over others, but mastery over yourself. Every day there is a battle, not one of weapons, but of words, emotions, and manipulation. And in this battle, your greatest enemy is not the person who stands against you, but the one who can dictate your emotions, disturb your peace, and drain your energy. Most people believe that to defeat an enemy, they must fight, that to win, they must strike back harder. But this is an illusion. The moment you react in anger, in frustration, in retaliation, you have already lost, because now you are playing by their rules. Those who seek to harm you, who wish to bring you down, do so for one reason. They crave your reaction. Your anger feeds them. Your retaliation validates them. Your emotional response gives them power. But what if you gave them nothing? What if, instead of fighting, you rendered them powerless without lifting a finger? The most dangerous opponent is the one who can't be provoked, the one who remains unmoved while others rage, the one who acts with wisdom instead of impulse. In this video, we will explore 5 powerful strategies rooted in ancient Stoic wisdom that will help you neutralize your enemies without ever engaging in battle. Because true victory is not in destruction, it is in rising above. Stay until the end, and you may never see conflict the same way again. The art of winning without war. What if you refused to play their game? What if, instead of reacting, you remained unmoved? Silence is not weakness, it is a weapon, but not the silence of submission, the silence of power. When someone insults you and you do not respond, they lose control. When they try to break you and you stand firm, they feel powerless. The first step to destroying an enemy without fighting is to deny them the fuel they need to keep attacking. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The moment you allow an enemy to provoke you, you hand them your power. But when you refuse to engage, when you remain calm in the face of hostility, they are left fighting nothing but their own frustration. Hatred, jealousy, and negativity are energy. You decide whether that energy destroys you or strengthens you. Most people waste their time plotting revenge, but the wise use it as fuel for transformation. Turn their attacks into motivation, their insults into stepping stones, their hostility into wisdom. There was once a wise master who was constantly insulted by a man in his village. Every day, the man would throw words of hatred at him, trying to provoke a reaction. But the master never responded. One day, a student asked, "Why do you let him insult you without saying anything?" The master smiled and replied, "If someone offers you a gift and you refuse to take it, to whom does the gift belong? Your enemy's words, their hatred, their intentions. These are all gifts. If you refuse to accept them, they remain with the giver. Do not carry the weight of someone else's bitterness. Leave it where it belongs. A wise warrior does not rush into battle. He waits, observes, and allows his enemy to destroy themselves. Anger is self-consuming. Resentment is self-destructive. If you simply step back and let time unfold, those who seek to harm you will often undo themselves. Seneca reminds us, "How much better to heal than to seek revenge from injury?" Vengeance wastes much time and exposes you to many more injuries than the first that gave birth to it. The one who schemes against you today may find themselves trapped by their own hatred tomorrow. Your role is not to fight, it is to outlast. Let them make mistakes in their impatience. Let them wear themselves down with their own anger. Time reveals all things. It exposes deception, exhausts malice, and weakens those who live in constant conflict. A predictable man is a weak man. If your enemy knows what angers you, they will provoke you. If they know your weaknesses, they will exploit them. The more predictable you are, the easier you are to control. Be like water, fluid, adaptable, impossible to grasp. Do not reveal your emotions. Do not let your movements be anticipated. Let your success be unseen until it is undeniable. The most dangerous opponent is not the one who boasts of his strength, but the one who conceals it until the perfect moment. Move in silence. Let your victories speak for themselves. If they cannot predict you, they cannot control you. And if they cannot control you, they cannot defeat you. The final and most powerful strategy: become so elevated that no enemy can touch you. When your mind is free, when your energy is strong, when your vision is clear, no one can stand against you, not because they fear you, but because they no longer matter. Does the lion stop for every barking dog? Number, it walks with purpose, indifferent to the noise around it. When you know your worth, no enemy is worth your energy. Epictetus wisely said, "Any person capable of angering you becomes your master." If you let your enemies dictate your emotions, they own you. But when you master yourself, they become irrelevant. So if you truly want to destroy your enemies, do not fight them. Master yourself. Be so focused on your growth that they become invisible. Be so committed to your purpose that their words fade into the background. Be so powerful in your silence that their attacks turn into nothing. And in the end, you will realize there was never a battle to fight. Because true power is not in defeating others. It is in rising so high that no one can reach you. The power of letting go. There was once a man who sought the wisdom of a great master. He had spent his entire life chasing success, relationships, and recognition. Yet no matter how much he achieved, he felt restless and unsatisfied. The more he tried to hold on to things, wealth, status, people, the more they seemed to slip away. Frustrated and exhausted, he asked the master, "Why do I feel so empty despite having everything?" The master smiled, handed him a cup of tea, and began to pour. The tea overflowed, spilling onto the floor. The man jumped back, startled. The master looked at him and said, "This is your mind, full, grasping, unable to hold anything more. Until you learn to let go, you will never be free." Most people live their lives in a constant state of attachment. Attachment to success, to relationships, to validation. They cling tightly to what they have, fearing loss, not realizing that their very attachment suffocates the things they love. They believe control brings security, but in reality, control only brings suffering. Because life is not something you can hold. It flows, changes, and evolves. Those who understand this do not fear losing. They know that real strength lies in detachment. Detachment does not mean indifference, nor does it mean running away from responsibility. It means engaging fully in life while understanding that nothing is permanent. A warrior fights with all his heart, but does not mourn the battlefield. A river flows with strength, but does not cling to the stones it passes. This is the art of detachment, to give your best to the moment, yet remain free from the outcome. Imagine a man who plants a tree. He nurtures it, waters it, protects it from storms. But if one day the tree withers, he does not break down in despair. He understands that his duty was to care for it, not to control its destiny. The same applies to everything in life: your work, your relationships, your dreams. Do your best, but do not be owned by the result. There is a story of an ancient king who ruled over a vast kingdom. He had everything: power, wealth, servants at his command. Yet deep inside he was always anxious, always afraid of losing what he had built. One day, a sage visited his court and gifted him a simple ring with an inscription: "This too shall pass." The king was puzzled, but the sage explained, "Wear this at all times. When you are in sorrow, read it. When you are in joy, read it." Years passed, and the king faced moments of great triumph and deep loss. Each time, he looked at the ring and remembered, "This too shall pass." Slowly, he began to understand that neither success nor failure was permanent. He learned to embrace each moment with gratitude, but without attachment. And, for the first time, he felt peace. This is the wisdom that few understand. Most people live in extremes, either clinging desperately to pleasure or drowning in sorrow. But detachment teaches you that both are temporary. If something brings you happiness, enjoy it fully, but do not fear its end. If something brings you pain, endure it with patience, for it too shall pass. A person who has mastered detachment is unshakable. When others panic, they remain calm. When others are consumed by desire, they remain focused. They are like a mountain, standing firm, unmoved by the storms of life. This is true power, not in controlling the world, but in being free from its control. Imagine walking through a marketplace filled with treasures, beautiful sights, and tempting offers. You admire everything, but you do not feel the need to own them. You appreciate the beauty, but you remain free. This is how life should be lived, with full experience, but without chains. Many mistake attachment for love, but true love is free. If you love someone, let them be who they are. If you love your work, do it with passion, but do not let failure destroy you. If you love success, pursue it, but do not let it define you. Because the moment you need something to be happy, you have given it power over you. Epictetus once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. The mind that clings is always restless. The mind that lets go is always free. If you have something, cherish it. If you lose something, move forward with grace. Life is like the ocean. Waves will rise and waves will fall. But if you learn to surf the waves instead of fighting them, you will never drown. There is great strength in knowing that nothing in this world truly belongs to you. The only thing you own is your inner state, your ability to remain peaceful regardless of the chaos outside. And when you reach this state, you will realize that true happiness does not come from possession, but from freedom. Turn your greatest weakness into power. There was once a boy born with only one arm. Despite his limitations, he dreamed of learning judo. Many discouraged him, saying he could never compete with those who had two strong arms. But undeterred, he sought out a master willing to train him. The master taught him just one move, nothing more. Day after day, month after month, the boy practiced that single technique relentlessly. Confused, he asked, "Master, shouldn't I learn more techniques?" The master only smiled and said, "Just keep practicing." After a year, the master entered him into a competition. The boy was nervous, but when the fights began, he executed his single move with precision and won match after match. In the final round, his opponent was bigger and stronger. The crowd doubted him, but when the moment came, he used the same move once again and won the tournament. Astonished, he asked his master, "How did I win with just one move?" The master replied, "Because the only defense against that move is to grab your opponent's right arm, and you don't have one." What seemed like his greatest weakness became his ultimate strength. Most people spend their lives hiding their weaknesses, fearing judgment, rejection, or failure. But what if the very thing you see as a disadvantage is actually the key to your greatest power? What if your struggles, setbacks, and failures are not barriers, but stepping stones? History is filled with those who transform their weaknesses into strengths. Beethoven, one of the greatest composers of all time, lost his hearing, but instead of seeing it as a limitation, he relied on the vibrations of the piano to create music that still moves the world today. Helen Keller, born deaf and blind, became a symbol of resilience, forever changing the way the world views disability. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before perfecting the light bulb. These people did not let their struggles define them. They used them as fuel to rise above. A person who has never faced hardship remains untested, but a person who has battled adversity and found a way forward is unstoppable. Weakness is only weakness if you allow it to defeat you. The moment you choose to own it, to transform it, it becomes your greatest strength. Difficulties strengthen the mind, just as labor does the body, Seneca once said. A caterpillar may see its cocoon as a prison, a place of confinement, but inside, transformation is taking place. When it emerges, it is no longer a crawling creature. It has wings. If you see your fears, your limitations, and your struggles as a prison, they will hold you down. But if you see them as a place of transformation, they will lift you up. Think of the person who lacks confidence in public speaking. They can either accept that weakness and avoid every opportunity or practice until they become an exceptional speaker. The person who is physically weak can either complain or train until they build incredible strength. The person who grew up in poverty can either feel sorry for themselves or use their hunger to achieve greatness. Every weakness holds within it the seed of strength. The question is, will you nurture it? A diamond is nothing more than carbon that has been under immense pressure. The same pressure that could break it is what makes it shine. Your challenges are shaping you, refining you, molding you into something greater. If you resist, you remain ordinary. But if you embrace them, you become extraordinary. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The next time you feel weak, the next time you think you are not good enough, ask yourself, how can I turn this into my greatest power? The moment you start seeing weakness as an opportunity, everything changes. Because nothing in this world can stop the person who has learned to turn their obstacles into stepping stones. You were never meant to stay small. You were never meant to let your struggles define you. Your journey is one of transformation. And the moment you stop seeing weakness as a curse and start using it as a tool for growth, you become truly unstoppable. The power of silence and strategy. There was once a great warrior who never fought with brute force, yet he never lost. His enemies feared him, not because of his strength, but because of his silence. He would enter the battlefield, observe his opponents, and say nothing. While others shouted, threatened, or acted in haste, he remained calm, unmoved, waiting. His strategy was never to react, but to respond with precision. One day, a young challenger, filled with arrogance, mocked him before a crowd. The warrior simply smiled and walked away. The challenger grew furious. He followed the warrior, insulted him, provoked him, yet still the warrior said nothing. Days passed, and the challenger exhausted himself, consumed by his own anger. The warrior never lifted a weapon, yet he had already won. Most people believe victory comes from aggression, from proving their strength, from fighting every battle that comes their way. But true power is not in reacting. It is in knowing when to act, how to act, and most importantly, when to remain silent. Silence is not weakness. Silence is control. It is the ability to hold back when the world pushes you to react. It is the ability to observe, to learn, and to strike only when the time is right. A lion does not chase every noise in the jungle. It waits, it watches, and when the moment is perfect, it moves with precision. How often have people tried to provoke you? How much energy have you wasted proving yourself to those who do not matter? The one who argues, who shouts the loudest, who fights every little battle, is not strong. They are controlled by their emotions. But the one who is silent, who calculates their steps, who speaks only when necessary, this person holds true power. Seneca once said, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." The same applies to those who waste their energy on meaningless conflicts. Strength is not in constant fighting, but in knowing which battles are worth engaging. History has shown that the greatest victories were not won by force alone, but by patience, intelligence, and restraint. A samurai was once asked, "What is the most powerful weapon?" He replied, "The mind that does not react." This is strategy. This is wisdom. A person who masters the art of silence does not engage in unnecessary conflicts. They understand that energy must be conserved, focus must be sharp, and words must be used like a blade, precisely and only when necessary. The one who cannot remain silent is a slave to their emotions, easily provoked, easily manipulated, easily defeated. Silence is not about doing nothing, it is about knowing exactly when to act. The strongest warriors, the greatest leaders, the most successful individuals all understand this. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Do not waste your energy proving a point. Do not let others dictate your emotions. Let others exhaust themselves trying to prove something. You do not need to prove anything. The strongest one in the room is not the loudest. It is the one who listens, observes, and speaks only when it truly matters. Move in silence. Think strategically. Act when the time is right. This is how you win." Becoming truly unshakable. There was once a tree that stood tall on the edge of a cliff. The winds howled, storms raged, and the rains poured down with fury, yet the tree remained standing. Other trees fell, their roots too weak to hold against the pressure, but this one never wavered. Travelers passing by marveled at its strength. "How do you not fall?" they asked. The tree stood firm, its roots deep in the earth, unshaken by the chaos around it. Strength is not about avoiding the storm. It is about standing tall in the middle of it. Life will test you. People will challenge you. Circumstances will shake the ground beneath your feet. The question is, will you bend? Will you break? Or will you rise above it all, unshaken? Most people live in constant reaction to the world around them. If someone insults them, they get angry. If they face failure, they lose confidence. If things do not go their way, they collapse. They are like leaves blown in whichever direction the wind takes them. But then, there are those who remain still, unshakable, no matter what comes their way. They are not ruled by emotions. They are not broken by circumstances. They have mastered themselves, and because of that, nothing can break them. Think about the strongest people you know. Are they the ones who panic under pressure? The ones who complain when things get tough? Number. The strongest ones are those who face adversity with calmness, who refuse to let the external world shake their inner foundation. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength, said Marcus Aurelius. There is an old story of a wise man who lived in a village. No matter what happened, good or bad, he always remained calm. When people praised him, he did not become proud. When they criticized him, he did not get angry. When he lost something valuable, he did not despair. A young man asked, "How do you remain so steady?" The wise man replied, "Because I do not allow the world to control me. I control myself." The world will always be unpredictable. People will not always be kind. Situations will not always be in your favor. But strength does not come from the outside. It comes from within. A mountain does not move because the wind blows against it. The ocean does not dry up because the sun is too hot. And you should not fall apart just because life gets difficult. Most people let their emotions control them. If they are happy, they feel powerful. If they are sad, they feel weak. But true power comes from stability, from knowing that no matter what happens, you will remain steady. If someone insults you, do not react with anger. If you fail, do not collapse in disappointment. If things do not go your way, do not lose hope. Because the moment you allow the outside world to dictate your emotions, you become weak. But the moment you decide that nothing will shake you, you become truly powerful. There will be days when everything seems to go wrong. People will disappoint you. Plans will fall apart. Obstacles will seem impossible to overcome. But that is when you must remind yourself, you are stronger than this moment. You are bigger than your challenges. And no matter what happens, you will not be broken. Every great person in history has faced hardship. They have been criticized, doubted, and tested beyond their limits. But they did not give in. They remained unshakable. And that is why they became legends. You cannot control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. And that is where your true power lies. Be like the tree that stands firm in the storm, its roots deep and unshaken. Be like the mountain that does not move, no matter how fierce the wind. Be like the ocean, vast, deep, unbothered by the waves that crash upon its surface. You were not made to be defeated by life. You were made to rise, to stand strong, and to prove that nothing, absolutely nothing, can shake your spirit. Strength is not about avoiding challenges. It is about facing them with unwavering resolve. So the next time life tests you, remember, you are stronger than you think, and you are in control. If this message resonated with you, let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and stay with me, because in the next video, we'll uncover another powerful strategy to help you master life on your own terms. Until then, stand strong.